Levi Manson was 10, dressed in his Sunday suit when he attended Maud Ferguson's funeral. Trying not to look at the coffin, he heard a stranger whisper that life must be wrung dry before the end, and he slipped outside to the shade of the larches. There he saw the strangest girl imaginable, a top hat, a patchwork skirt, and a branch she wielded like a cane. In case the bear came back. Pointing the stick at him, she demanded the question boy's full name. Levi Manson, she answered, enunciating every syllable. Violet, Daphne, Rose, Cassavetes. On learning that her birthday was 7th March, and his 10th March, she declared it a sign and ordered a proper cane. The livid scar twisting her right hand branded itself on his mind, and that afternoon he resolved to carve the cane, without realizing he had just begun the story of his life. Violet had come to Whitefish with her father, Luke soon dubbed Crazy Luke for the ease with which he emptied bottles. They lived in a half-ruined inherited house under the mountains. Vi filled the chaos with color. She painted a livestock trough to plant flowers, made jewelry from rubber and glass, and dreamed of escaping town. Few liked Luke, yet Henry Manson, Levi's father, offered him a job at the family construction firm. A fresh bout of drinking ended that chance and cemented Levi's vow to shield Vi from harm. When Russell, a cantankerous neighbor, opened the doors of his barn stuffed with mannequins and film reels, Vi found a sanctuary for her inventions, and Levi learned to see the invisible through her eyes. At 11, they strayed off a family trail in Glacier National Park, climbed a forbidden waterfall, and Vi hurled herself into the glacial water without hesitation. Levi, terrified of heights, thought her dead until she surfaced laughing. From then on, vertigo was forever bound to her name. At 13, Vi wore a mended bridal dress to the supermarket, and Levi's mother summoned him to warn about those oddities. He remembered only Vi's barefooted laugh after her first sip of beer. When Levi introduced her to his friends, a remark about the scar made him invent the bear story, and he realized he needed judge-free spaces to love her. Their first kiss came on an ordinary night beneath a tent of canvas and branches. Vi whispered she couldn't grow up without knowing how her best friend's mouth tasted. The earth trembled under Levi, and he thought the world's end began and ended in her. Yet, adolescence brought impossible questions. Levi yearned to put down roots in the family carpentry. Vi longed to devour the world. For months he kept a ring in his pocket, ready to ask her to stay. Graduation day ruined that plan. Vi arrived with a bus ticket to Los Angeles. They parted in a furious kiss, and the ring stayed in a drawer, a secret he'd never voiced. In California, Violet reinvented herself. In a back-alley audition, she called herself Vida Rose and accepted scriptwriter Jacob Nichols' offer of a small role that would open industry doors. Castings, commercials, and photo shoots taught her to survive by shining. Camilla shepherded her to auditions. Heaven Payne dragged her to parties. Rocker Damon Kim pushed her into a romance that ended with a public miscarriage and a spiral of drugs and headlines. Fame's every triumph left a hollow she tried to fill with delirious nights. At dawn, she dialed Whitefish to hear Levi's voicemail. Levi, meanwhile, ran the family firm and found calm carving figures in his workshop. Grace Allen, a childhood friend, became a refuge. Life with her was gentle family dinners, Sunday series, beer, and Levi mistook serenity for destiny. He proposed beneath Christmas lights, intent on building the quiet Vi had denied him. The cream paper invitation reached Beverly Hills, and Vida Rose felt skinned alive. Jacob reminded her snakes shed to grow, and she respected Grace's plea to skip the wedding. The ceremony was small and proper. Levi and Grace bought a single-story house, painted walls, spoke of children. He told himself the future could be that correct, with Vi's memory dulled. But Violet's ghost sat at every table, A birthday postcard in her crooked hand arrived on his 25th. News of her miscarriage blared on the tavern TV. Her name became a murmur no vow could silence. The marriage cracked when Luke suffered a heart attack and Vi returned briefly to white fish. Grace invited her to dinner, trusting courtesy. Levi watched the curve of Vi's mouth as if time had not passed, and his neat home felt like a borrowed stage. Back in L.A., Vi learned fame without roots was dessert. She sold the mansion, sheared the platinum hair, and drove to Montana to restore, in secret, the abandoned Collins cabin, the spot she and Levi had marked on childhood maps. Meanwhile, Grace departed with quiet dignity, knowing the silence around her husband bore a woman's name. Levi signed the divorce, locked himself in the workshop, carved until chips blurred with memories, then finally played the messages Vi had left and set out to find them. The final meeting came on a cold afternoon. We sat on the porch wrapped in a blanket. Levi learned she was the mystery buyer. He asked when she would leave. Vi said she wouldn't. She had chosen to stay a while. Fearful of new flights, he hesitated. She guided his hand to her heartbeat and admitted she'd bought the cabin years ago to protect a dream she could not lose. In his pocket lay the teenage ring. No knee, no speech. He simply opened his hand and she called it perfect. Thus a forgotten object became a promise of tomorrow. Levi sold the old house, expanded the woodland workshop, and filled the cabin with sculptures. Vi planted a tiny garden, drafted scripts for no one, and let anonymity heal her. Luke, finally sober, visited on Sundays. Russell died content, having guarded the magic-eyed girl. Friends visited and found the peace Levi had always sought and Vi now wished to share. A stray pup named Storm kept watch. Above the fireplace hung the original cane, and a penguin carved the winter they believed love could conquer all. In 2019, journalist Jennifer Dawson arrived with a hand-drawn map and found a domestic scene. Vi gathering firewood, braid askew, Levi slicing bread by the hearth. Jennifer asked why abandon Hollywood. Vi answered her place was here, breathing the same air as the taciturn man whose hand lay beneath the table. Levi added that no matter the past's noise, the split second before the world's end still pulsed when their eyes met. No viral wedding photos exist. They have no need. Each night, as the lamp dims, Levi's arm encloses Vi, and she touches the wooden pendant with their interlaced initials. If the world ended tomorrow, they would meet right here, in the cabin smelling of sap and coffee, to say goodbye, with the same certainty with which they learned to say hello as children. Anyone asking about the inscription on the beam, Levi and Vi, since 1993 to the end of the world, receives the same answer. The end of the world is precisely this place, where fear stops and everything they can imagine together begins.